It is deload week. Monday, I maxed my power cleans. I'm gonna put those at the end of this video. Today, we are gonna be looking at what my max power output is. We have this cool device right here that measures your power output in watts. I'm gonna attach it to the bar, and then I'm gonna try different percentages of my max and see what the highest watts I can get. And then, I got this really cool machine right here. It just got here. This is a Rogue Rhino belt squat, and I got this so that I can squat deep without putting a bunch of load on my back, and I'm also not limited by my rack position like I am in a front squat. So super excited to use this. We're gonna use it a lot this next cycle today. I'm just building up to a heavy single, that way I get a rough idea of how strong I am on it. It uses a pulley right here. So as you can see, as I squat up and down, it moves back here. So should be a really fun workout. Let's see what numbers I can get. Nah. Let me chalk up. My first time chalking up for 135. I have John on the earphones right now. He told me to try to get 2,000 peak watts. So we're gonna try 135 again. And we're basically trying to build a force velocity profile. So we're gonna try going for peak power at multiple weights and see what I get. And we'll be able to draw a nice little graph, nice little curve. Also, I'm specifically trying to pull hard as hell on the second pull, not off the floor. Which, by the way, if you want to get your power clean up, that's where you want to put all your effort at. Second pull. To summarize what me and John just talked about, we would put this on a graph, and ideally, we would have data on a bunch of elite athletes. And if you see that the cluster of elite athletes are good at producing force in a certain spot, but then you're lagging at a certain percentage of your max, then that's a weakness that you could potentially work on. So I guess we're starting. This is the beginning of the data collection of elite 2-foot jumpers. All right, 205 coming up. Try, come on. That felt good. That was lower. God damn it. It was basically the same though. All right, so now I have 225 pounds on the bar. As you can see, the peak velocities are going down, but peak power is still going up. And that's because I am, relatively speaking, still accelerating the bar really freaking hard, even though it's a heavier weight compared to the lower weights. And John thinks that's what separates me from athletes that don't jump as high. So we're gonna do this weight, then 245, 265, 285, and we're basically gonna just try to find where peak power starts to drop. That's a good spot to cut it. And yeah, so let's see how 225 moves now. So we should see some pretty high numbers here, because this is around, I think, 70%. Damn! Higher peak velocities than 205. So John right now is shook because I should not be moving that faster as it gets heavier. It's heavier weight, you should be moving it slower. So we might have to retest 205 after I finish all my sets, but I think it's adrenaline. Like I'm getting more adrenaline as the bar is getting heavier and I'm trying harder. But yeah, not an ideal situation, but it's okay. We're gonna try one more set though to make sure it's reliable, because that could have been a fluke. That one was way slower. It felt slower. Oh my God. Very interesting stuff happening right now. I'm basically maintaining my peak velocities as the weight is going up, which John says he thinks that's a big spot where I differ. I'm just able to keep generating power as the weight is getting higher. That was 76% of my max. And it was just as fast as 205 and 225, basically. The other thing is my time to peak velocity is staying pretty consistent around 0.6 seconds. We're guessing that the pull off the ground is taking around 0.4 seconds. So he thinks the second pull. So this is the first pull. This is the second pull right here. The second pull is lasting basically just as long as my ground contact time on a 2-foot jump. So he thinks this is very specific. Yeah, and that's also a stretch shortening cycle because you have a double knee bend. So you're going from here, then you're bending under it. So eccentric, concentric. So it's like the same patterning that you see on a 2-foot jump as well. So very, very cool things happening. All right, 265 coming up. Pull this with the power of the gods. The power clean that inspired generations. My dumbass forgot to record 275, but the peak power I got on that was 2,627 watts. Peak velocity was 2.15 meters per second. Time to peak velocity was 0.68 seconds. So we went 245, 265, 275. Power dropped at 275. So now we're gonna try 255 and see if I can get a higher peak power than I did on the 265 there. And that should give us good data on my force velocity profile in here. Let's send it. I am feeling a little bit, I feel like I'm starting to get a little bit fatigued, but my power will overcome it. Yeah, I am. So right now, power dropped on 255, which shouldn't have happened because the jump from, what was it? Going from 245 to 265 was really high power, and then I think that was lower than the 275. We're on par with it, or than the 245. So it just shows that I'm fatigued right now. So what I'm talking to John about is I did 10 total reps where I was trying hard. I hit my highest peak power on the 8th rep, which is similar to how dunk sessions feels. I'll warm up fully, and then around my 8th jump is where I'm hitting my best jumps, which is relevant to testing. Because if I don't hit my highest jumps after 8-ish jumps, I probably shouldn't keep trying to PR my vertical. That's not considering technique, by the way. Like you can make like some technique changes and you could possibly PR later on. But for someone like me that's advanced and my technique is pretty dialed in, it's not as likely. And then what John was saying is you also got to look at is like when was I hitting within 95% of my peak power? That was only like the last 3 jumps. So it's like I can basically produce my maximum power for 3 attempts. Yeah, or like 98% of my peak power for like 3 attempts. And then you're gonna start seeing a decline. What's interesting is I feel like I can maintain high power. Like I feel like I could maintain within 95% of my power for a long time. Before I started THP, I could touch 11 feet and 9 inches. Now I can touch 12 feet and 3.5 inches. A big reason I was able to make that progress is because I knew what plyos to do and when to do them. And then I also had to get a lot stronger. Getting stronger is like putting a bigger engine inside of a car, and then knowing what plyos to do and when to do them is like putting a supercharger on top of that engine. However, if you don't know how and when to implement those variables, you're going to get hurt. We've been able to dial that process down by training thousands of athletes over the last 10 years. As a matter of fact, based on polls we've taken, the average athlete gains 4 inches of vertical in 6 months. And because of those stats, I have a guarantee for you. If I don't help you increase your vertical by at least 3 inches in the next 6 months, I'll coach you for free until you do. So if you're ready to get started, sign up and you're gonna get on a call with a coach within 24 hours. You're gonna get customized daily workouts,
a private group chat with me and the coaches where you can ask us questions about anything training related 24/7, jump technique analysis, lifting technique analysis, an entire jump training course that goes in depth on the science behind jump training, guides on how to rehab the most common injuries when it comes to jumping, and video calls with the coach of your choice at THP twice per month, and much, much more. If you're interested, go to THPstrength.com and use the code THP for 10% off of your first month. See you on the other side.
Yeah. Got it.